So we'll lay our ribs across this. And my name is Mark Ayling, and I am a sculptor. So you want that on the opposite side of that. It's actually about 5 years in the making. We have literally months and months of computer design time, and Alex has created a three-dimensional rendering of the Benoist model here. So this is actually to scale in the computer, and every one of these components will be fabricated so that we can assemble it just as we're seeing it here on the computer. So it's got to be very, very accurate, and it makes the assembly process actually very efficient, because all of the problem solving happens right here in the computer. Clear down to a thousandth of an inch, we can get an accuracy in what we can cut. A lot of the plane design is being cut from plate material. We have a water jet here on the facility that allows us to cut our pieces. So we're working with 4 foot by 10 foot, primarily 1/4 inch plate material. This monument commemorates the first commercial aviation flight in the history of the world, believe it or not, and it happened right here in St. Petersburg. He's actually got a really great nose. Part of the monument is 2 bronze torsos that represent Mayor File and Tony Janus. We create a pattern, and then we pull a mold off of that, and then from that mold we generate a wax, and that gets cast into bronze. So those bronzes will become an integral part of the finished monument. And that's why this monument is so important, because it creates an attraction and an informative sculpture that will let people, visitors, know the importance of the history of this area. The sculpture of the airplane that we're making is life-size. We have to, in order to be able to transport it, we have to build it in parts. So we'll be assembling the wings. It's a biplane, and the wings are 45 feet long and about 6 feet high, about 5 feet deep. We'll build those on a cart so we can roll them out of the studio. We'll have a joint or a connection point that connects to the fuselage of the airplane, which will be its own component, and then the basing element will actually be split in half. It'll be created in 2 parts. As I said, it's full scale, but it's stainless steel. One of the biggest challenges of this piece is that we don't want it to fly. We all know down here in St. Petersburg we have hurricanes and other things like that to deal with, and we have to engineer this piece to be able to withstand 155-mile-an-hour sustained winds. And what we're doing to keep this one from flying is using a skin out of stainless steel that's actually perforated. So between 40 and 50% of the total mass of the surface will be whole. Well, I tell you what, when you're marrying 4-inch by 4-inch square tube that has a 3/8 inch wall, and the kind of heat that has to go into the welds that holds that together, and we're combining that with skin components that are made out of 1/8 inch walled 1-inch square tube, and then an 1/8 inch skin over that, technically it's really difficult to bring all those components together. And we had a significant amount of distortion in some of our connections, and we did a lot of bending and prying with the stainless, which is just inherent in the stainless fabrication process, to get clean lines. And one of the reasons we chose to rivet that outside skin is so we could keep it thin and light and keep from getting a lot of distortion from the welding process in those skins. So to have that heavy metal in the core of that and have it all come together and look like the skin of a lightweight airplane fuselage, was to have that come together and be realized was really, really rewarding. It's a huge honor to be chosen to make this piece that is a piece of history of the city of St. Petersburg, and we get to make a little history and be part of the history of the city, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. The installs are always very challenging. So you get out of the studio environment and you've got a lot of unknown variables to deal with. When you get the crane out and the pieces out there and they start going together, it's always very exciting to see. To see that piece sitting there in that location where the original hangar sat and have it done and out of the shop is going to be incredibly rewarding.